My name is Lynn Mulston. I'm president of Reston Citizens Association. Tonight's candidate forum is being recorded. Our opening, we have already had our board motion, which I don't think you all need to be privy to. Now it is my pleasure to welcome our attendees and our candidates who are here with us tonight. Running for the at-large seat, we have John Farrell and Dave Lynch, and running for the Lake Ann Tall Oak seat, we have Nathan Phillips and Ramon Pardo. Welcome. We regret that there are two candidates that are unable to join us this evening, Mr. McCandless, who is running for the at-large seat, and Ms. Cannon, who is running for the Lake Ann Tall Oaks. Both are unable to be with us, regretfully. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce tonight's moderator. Ambassador Dennis Hayes first came to Reston in 1979 after his initial overseas assignment with the State Department. Over the next quarter century, he alternated his time in Reston with his foreign postings before settling here for good in 2000. Ambassador Hayes is a former president of and current board member of Reston Citizens Association, a former president of the Reston Runners, and a board member of the Friends of the Reston Regional Library. He was a member of the task force that recently revised the Reston Comprehensive Plan. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Hayes.
Thank you, Lynn. As you can tell, I really like Reston. Anything that's got Reston in the title. As a community, we have a reputation of being an activist community. And to be an activist community, obviously, you have to have activists. And I think the one thing that we have always had plenty of is people who are willing to step up, to do the hard work, take on the difficult assignments for the betterment of our entire community. So on behalf of the Reston Citizens Association, I want to thank all of you for taking this step forward to be candidates for an extremely important and influential assignment. So thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. The rules of engagement today. We want to keep this as quickly moving as we possibly can. I will be asking each candidate to speak for 2 minutes as an opening statement of anything you wish to tell the voters at this time. We will then move into a question and answer period. I will note that we have had a tremendous response, a number of questions that have come in over the last week or so. We have done our best to try to group them into 7 or 8 sort of areas, which I think are pertinent and we'd be interested in hearing your views on. During the question period, each candidate will have 1 minute to speak. After all candidates have had a chance, you can request from me an additional 30 seconds to add any additional information or checkpoint or something along those lines. At the end, and we're an on-time airline, we will give you each 1 minute more to say whatever final messages you wish to get across, or if there's something that has not happened at this point. To simplify things, we want to start with our at-large candidates, and then we'll move into the Tall Oaks group.
And Rich will be doing the timekeeping.
I'm sorry, very important. Rich will be doing the timekeeping. He has a little sign there which you'll hold up. As it gets close, please kind of wrap it up. He also will have a second sign or make a face at you if you're running up on the deadline. If that doesn't work, I will make a face at you. So please, we'll kind of keep moving because we do want to get to as many questions as we possibly can. Okay. So with that, John, I'd like you to start off. You would, please, 2 minutes.
Certainly. I'm John Farrell. I'm running for re-election as an at-large member of the Reston Association Board. Our elections are a good time to refresh and reset relationships. We can reflect on where we've been and where we'd like to go. I hope that we can do that tonight and put us on a path to a stronger collaboration. There are far more things that unite us than divide us. And in this particular moment for our nation, I've been reminded just how important the concept of community is for people advocating for what is right. Together, you and I and others have been successful in advocating to save the Reston National and Hidden Creek golf courses and to keep a casino out of our town. There's much more that we can do together. We each have our respective roles in this community. And as part of my role, I've been able to do work that this community needs. We've reopened the Lake Thoreau and Shadowwood pools. We've added heat to the water at Shadowwood and Lake Audubon pools. We've extended the pool season and pool hours. We've made Hook Road and Running Cedar Ball Fields safer. We've conducted a professional survey of our members to ascertain their preferences for the R8 facilities. We have conducted detailed site assessments of all R8 facilities from which to create a capital budget that preserves those pools, tennis courts, and footbridges for decades into the future without borrowing money or a special assessment. During the next term, I'll continue to oppose a Reston casino, continue to advocate for preservation of both golf courses. I'll continue to advocate for new residential development to join RA to spread the cost of RA facilities and programs over all the homes that enjoy them. And I will advocate for a central green and the town center north for all of Restonians to enjoy. Thank you for your time. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell. Mitch.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I want to first, thank the ambassador for moderating this forum, and thank RCA for inviting me to participate tonight. My name is Dayton Lynch. I love Reston. When I was growing up, I didn't have a place to call home. Really, I lived in Maryland. I went to junior high and high school in Oklahoma, and people would always say, "Where are you from?" Couldn't answer that question. I'd have to give them that story I just gave you. We moved to Reston, my family and I, because of just the environment. Not just because of the amenities, but because of the people. We made friends in Reston before we lived in Reston. Everything we did was in Reston. And so we made our way here precisely because of all of you. That activism that we see, that connection with community, that's where I am. And that's why I'm running for at-large director. I want to bring that kind of fresh perspective that connects not only with the past, which I respect. Rev. Robert D. Simon's books, I love urban development. And when I was in Maryland, I was in Columbia, and all they were talking about was their sister location, planned community in Reston. My plan for Reston first on the board of directors is to engage with the board of directors. We have to work collaboratively. We have to understand where the path forward is. And then outside of that, we have to learn how to navigate with our, let's say, county partners and even the state, right? They're doing a lot of things around us. They're building a lot of things around us, things we don't want. They don't really hear our voice clearly enough. With the golf course, we have to preserve that. And then we have to go a step further, maybe, make it even a super duper world-class green space. And the same thing with the casino. We have to fight that at every single turn. So what I want to do is I want to earn your vote. I want to speak to you. I have an open door. Let's talk Reston. And I think I'm the choice for change. Thank you.
Very much. Okay, now we're going to move over to Lake Ann and Tall Oaks, Mr. Phillips.
First of all, I love all the Hidden Creek preservation talk. Love it. Man, keep it coming. Okay, I'm Nathan Phillips. Good evening. I'm running to represent Lake Ann and Tall Oaks. Now, I want to take this opportunity now, right, to be clear about this role, how I see it, and of course, why I'm running. I don't believe that the first and easiest answer to challenges in our community involves raising costs. I don't. Maybe it is in the details and the nuance, but I don't think that that's the first struggle. The community governance, I think, requires discipline, restraint, utility of every single dollar. Be clear, be felt, and be experienced by the resident. Problem is, over the past few years, the assessments have risen over and over, right? 23, 24, 25, 26. It's telling a lot of a lot of our neighbors I opened our assessment, and the first thing I did after was not pay it, of course. I downloaded the petition, downloaded the forms to get on the board. Now, I understand that those rising costs can be put on inflation. They can be put on operational pressures, and I get those realities. They exist, right? But I'm afraid that the decisions that led us to that point, I feel like they're outpacing a lot of my neighbors' wallets and mine, frankly. But so yeah, my perspective comes from experience. Right, I've worked hourly jobs. I've served overseas. and now as a contractor before, and now a civilian federal employee, I know how institutions work, I know how they work well. So yeah, and finally, the question tonight, rather than is Reston amazing, I think is, how do we protect what is amazing about it, and how do we, gauge our decisions to choose what comes next. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Ramon Pardo. I've been in Reston since 1981. I've grown up here. I call this my home. And after traveling the world, being all over in different countries, I realized that Reston is very unique, and there's no community in the world like Reston, in my opinion. My parents still live here. I've raised my kids here. My children are raising their children here. So I've got 4 generations living in Reston, and I'm just a community guy. I really do care about this community. I'm the organizer for the Reggae on the Lake. If any of you guys know about that festival in Lake Anne every year, we raise money for a charity called Cornerstones, which helps Reston directly and helps our community. We've been doing that for about 4 years, going on year 5. I also coach youth soccer. I started coaching in Reston soccer 20 years ago, and Reston and Great Falls soccer merged about 9 years ago, and I've been sitting on the board of directors in that organization for the last 15 years. So I know a little bit about how board of directors work. The reason I'm running is because I care about the community. I realize that there's issues that come up in Reston that need to be addressed. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I believe in preserving our green space, and I believe in preserving the original intent of Bob Simon's vision of Reston. Growth is inevitable. We know that there's going to be development, but how can we embrace the development without losing sight of what Reston really means as a community? And I'm running, and I hope you vote for me.
Thank you. There's a third candidate at Tall Oaks in Lake Anne, Georgina Cannon, who unfortunately cannot be here this evening. However, she has presented a statement, which our board member, Michelle Silver, will read.
Hi. Good evening, and thank you to the organizers for putting together tonight's forum. I want to begin by apologizing to everyone here for my absence. I was looking forward to the opportunity to take part in this important conversation. Unfortunately, as president of my cluster association, I have to run a community vote on our cluster budget this evening. As president of a cluster association on Lake Anne, I know firsthand how complicated community leadership can be. Putting together a budget that is adequate for the needs of residents and aging infrastructure and fiscally responsible requires careful thought, difficult conversations, and real accountability to the people you serve. Tonight, my neighbors are counting on me to be there, and I want to make sure I am fulfilling my commitment to my cluster. I hope you will have a productive and informative evening, and I look forward to engaging with residents in the coming days and weeks. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly at Georgina, Georgina, at georginacannon.com, georginacannan.com. I would love to hear your questions, concerns, and ideas. Thank you again, and my apologies once more for not being with you tonight.
Thank you, Michelle. We have one more board position that's coming up, which is for the apartment owners. And it's an unopposed at this time, but Margaret is, I understand, Margaret, you're on Zoom, and this would be a great time to make a statement.
I am, thank you. Good evening. My name is Margaret Perry, and I currently serve as the apartment owners representative on the Reston Association board. Between tonight's forum and next Tuesday's RA forum on February 24th, my hope is that you gain a clear sense of who we are as candidates, and more importantly, how we intend to support both the RA members and the dedicated staff who keep our community running. I am running for re-election because I believe in a balanced, thoughtful approach to leadership. While my specific seat represents apartment owners, I want to be very clear. When I sit at the board table and cast my vote, I keep every single member of the Reston Association in mind. Unfortunately, we are living in a time where costs are rising for everyone, RA included. Because of this, my priority is centered on fiscal realism. We must focus our resources on maintaining and improving our current facilities where it is both necessary and reasonable. I will once again ask staff to look at moving towards quarterly payments for all to help with the rising costs, which was deemed unnecessary by current members of the board. We owe it to the membership to be stewards of their assessments, ensuring that Reston remains beautiful and functional without placing an undue burden on our members. I am also a firm believer in the future of Reston. I actively encourage new developments to join the RA family, including those along the Dulles Toll Road corridor. My strategy isn't about making demands, which are rarely well received. It is about collaboration. I will continue to encourage staff to meet with developers, helping them see the tangible benefits that RA membership brings to their future residents. Because the apartment owners are the only members permitted to vote for my specific seat, I want to be respectful of the broader community's time. Therefore, I would like to relinquish my time to the other candidates this evening, unless, of course, there's a specific question directed to me. I encourage everyone to vote and to stay engaged. I welcome any member to reach out to me directly with questions or concerns. Thank you to the Reston Citizens Association for your time and commitment to Reston. And thank you to those watching for participating and being stewards of our community.
Hey, Margaret. That doesn't mean you get additional time for each question, just as a general. Okay, we're now going to move into the question period. And again, Carol, I'm going to start with you, but each question will start with a different candidate. Although you're running for different board seats, the issues I think that are most likely to come up apply to everyone in Reston. So unless there is a specific question directed at a specific individual, I will ask all four of you to respond to the question. The first one, and I must say that this was the most common theme. We had well over 40 people writing in, and the most common theme was a concern that the board meetings that RA has be on time, on topic, and collaborative. The meetings that go past midnight make it difficult for citizens to be able to attend or follow these meetings. So in terms of just board conduct, what can be done to make it more efficient and more productive? Starting with Mr. Farrell, please.
So I share that concern. And one of the ways that we shortened our meetings was to meet more frequently. The current board chose to change that and to cut back the number of meetings we had every month. We're now about 12 to 18 topics that have been waiting for us to address, and we'll be waiting for the next board to address, because we cut back from 2 meetings a month to 1 meeting a month. I also think that with the change in leadership that we've experienced, we're going to have a more efficient and productive meeting to be able to get out of there at 9:30 instead of 12:30.
Excellent. Mr. Lynch.
The association is the volunteer board. People have families, they have things they're trying to do. They really care about their community. So it's really important when you're in board meetings that you just cut to the chase, right? The Reston board of directors aren't operational CEO leaders, right? They're guiding lights. And in my opinion, it doesn't take all night for a guiding light. Let the stars and the moon take over after you've done your work. I've spoken with a number of citizens here in Reston who are tracking the board efficiency. They match it against standards. And there's a lot of things we can do to improve it. I'm ready to improve it. If you don't like something, you register your opinion, like the Supreme Court. Opinion comes down, has to work up later. Maybe your chances will be better the next time. But at the end of the day, you have to get to the work, and you leave the operational tasks to staff and leadership, and then you come back and you do what you're supposed to do as a board.
Oops.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So efficiency of board meetings. Yeah, I've been to a board meeting. But I think it was you who mentioned binders before before board meetings. I took that home. I took it to heart. I took it home and I thought to myself, why a binder? Why not a one sheet? We're looking at one sheet, 10-bit data points, then perhaps the meeting will go by faster. If you have all the information, I don't know, not been on the board, but yeah, give me a cheat sheet. Alternatively, delegate. I don't know anything about, landscaping or trail clearing or those operational issues, so delegate. Get the right people the right information who know far more about it than I do and have them make recommendation.
Oops, thank you, Mr. Pardo.
Yes, that's a really good question. I think that my experience on board of directors gives me enough experience to see the short meetings and the long ones. The ones that go to midnight tend to be very grueling, and we all have families. We're volunteers, so I understand that time is important. I forgot to mention that I am currently on the Reston Design Review Board, and I have to give credit to Reston staff, the Covenant staff, because they facilitate a lot of the legwork for our meetings so that we can really just make important decisions in the meeting. So my approach to the Reston board would be similar. I would collaborate with Reston staff to see how we can streamline our meetings in terms of bullet points and what needs to be voted on and what needs to be discussed.
Very good. All right, at 30 seconds.
So it's the only person who's on the board right now and who's had to go through midnight. The binders that we get them a week ahead of time. And it's clear to me that some of us actually review those binders. If everybody comes in and review the materials and talk to each other before meetings and talk to staff before meetings, we can go a lot faster. But a lot of the time we're having to effectively read the materials to some of our colleagues who haven't been respectful enough of each other to come in prepared. And that would enable us to be far more efficient.
Okay. Anyone else? What, additional 30?
Well, again, I mean, there's going to be different people are going to have different availability during the week to get through and read. I think it's important to kind of follow the guide, whoever has the gavel, to respect them, to respect our colleagues. If I had the opportunity to be on the board, and just try to get through what tasks you can accomplish. Then you can't do all things. And I know I was a person who tried to do all things in college. I tried to do all things. I learned you can't do all things. Sometimes you have to prioritize. And you have to shorten that list and just realize, as you know, that it's just the reality of just being on a board. I served on the. Oh, I have to stop. I did serve on the Consumer Protection Commission for the Fairfax County. I was appointed by Kathy Smith, and I understand we had some long meetings, but we prioritized.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Hearing no one else from the side of the room. The something that also came up quite frequently is those of us who have been in Reston and know a little bit about how it works and all, we know that there is always a tension between keeping assessments low and also adequate funding for the needs in capital and personnel and what have you. But what most people see is their assessment going up each year. This will be an issue that if you're on the board, you will be directly having to deal with. So how would you do that? And Mr. Lynch, we're going to start with you this time.
There you go. So one of my first bullet points, speaking to all the people who are in Reston who signed my petition from all over. And I want to keep assessments affordable and reasonable. I like to keep them low. And you get to the point, well, then what do you do then? Well, strategic partnerships, sponsorships, entrepreneurial operation. That's how you supplement the costs. You don't just say we're going to just go and eat assessments, right? We're going to just get the money because the board is the board for the members. It's not for itself, right? It serves the members. If the members are saying, I feel that pain, we have to get innovative. We have to work with staff to find entrepreneurial opportunities, sponsorships, grants, all the things that, by the way, Columbia's done and other places do. And that's what we have to work on. Maybe we need a facility that's named after a green company that we believe in, right? instead of having to do everything with the dollar that's in the member's pocket.
Phillips.
Let me again, it was about, how do we keep costs low? How do we
Well,
keep
effectively, how do you deal with
rising assessments?
rising assessments? Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I guess that's my opening statement. I mean, rising costs, it's a drag for everyone, right? I mean, there needs to be reprioritization, right? And I don't think it's prudent to go through and line by line right here in the RCA forum. I'll be courteous to my host. But I know I'm fairly certain maybe someone can correct me, but I think it's something like 14% of our budget spent on aquatics. Great, love aquatics. I've never been to a pool here. My question is, has 14% of residents here in Reston been to a pool? Now, there could be a false equivalency, but I'm saying that, I don't know, what do residents actually want to participate in? What's the experience they're trying to get out of it? And is it worth the cost?
Okay. I'm a swimmer, by the way.
You are.
So am I. I grew up swimming at glade pools, so aquatics are important to our family as well. But assessments have been going up, and I'm sure everybody's concerned as I am. Fiscal responsibility is very important as a board of directors. I would like to come in and take a fresh look, just kind of at a high level. And see where we're spending our money and how efficient it is, and maybe raise some questions or make suggestions for improvement. Like my colleague over here said, raising corporate sponsorship or raising, just putting together fundraisers could be an option. But certainly, looking at where every dollar is spent is very important to me, and I'd like to take a fresh look at it.
So interestingly enough, across the country, the average HOA fee is $3,500. And for most of those homeowners associations, maybe they get one pool. We have 15. Our biggest hunk of spending is on personnel. What our staff is telling us is that in order to do any kind of major reduction in our operations, we'd have to close 5 pools. I don't know anybody who's in favor of that. What we did do a survey recently, and we asked people, do you think you're getting good value for your money, for your assessment? The overwhelming answer was yes. So obviously you don't want to gold plate anything, but what we do want to do is provide the services and the opportunities that the membership has asked for. And they don't want us closing any pools. That's clear. They want us to maintain our tennis courts and our trails. That costs money. And I'm not going to sit here and promise you that we can keep assessments flat or go down. But the other part is having the capital funds to maintain all of the facilities that everybody prizes.
Excellent. Okay. Anyone asking for 30 seconds?
I'll take 30 seconds.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we understand that things cost money and inflation and there's all kind of pressures. We have to work to be dynamic. We're not a normal HOA, by the way. I mean, we're a little bit more than that. We're a lot more than that. Might even be a standard bearer if you look at it that way. So we have to think innovatively too. We can't just keep chasing assessments, right? We have to diversify the way we view what we're bringing in. I thought Winterfest was a great thing that the former CEO was able to champion. That's one of the ways we can begin to bring more in.
What else? Yes, Mr. Farrell.
It's really interesting. Winterfest loses money.
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of continuing Winterfest because it's a service to the community. And we lose about $10,000 or $20,000 on it. But that's okay, because the overwhelming response of our membership favors Winterfest and says they really appreciate that community event. Hopefully over time, I think we're in our 3rd year now, hopefully over time that can be self-sustaining. But we really are a community service organization, and that's what we're about.
But before we move on, can I just say, yeah, early investments do lose money, but so many Winterfest it draws people who aren't interested, and all you do is find a way to say, how can we make that into a benefit for Reston? What can we charge that's reasonable? And that right there is an example of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about finding a way to be entrepreneurial.
Okay, one 30-second.
130. Mr. Ambassador. This is life. This is life work.
15 seconds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you go. All right, that's great.
I'll take 30, don't mind.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I don't believe this was the question, but I've never, believe it or not, it sounds awesome. Never heard of Winterfest. So perhaps the question is not, is it going to make us money eventually? But what does our communication framework look like? How are we reaching out to residents to let them know there's an awesome thing called Winterfest? So anyway, thank you. Yeah.
Pardo, any final word?
No.
Okay.
I think it's been.
Okay, next question. This is a two-part because I think the first part I think I know where you're heading, but we're going to say it anyway because we want you on camera, right? And then a second part. The first part is RA has made a very strong statement in support of Reston having 2 18-hole golf courses. Do you agree with that assessment, and would you work to promote that in the future? That's the first question. Second question is, what can or should be done to encourage people in the transit zones to become RA members? And on that, is incentive or by force or however you think it could be done. But the question is to broaden the support base that we have, because we know a lot of these folks already use a fair number of our services along the way. So what can we do? So two-part question, and we're starting with Mr. Phillips.
Well, man, I've been waiting to talk about these golf courses. I'm a member of the Creek Country Club. Been a member for years and years. It's an awesome club. The staff is amazing. The course is okay. It's not the most challenging, but it has many of my bubbles. It's a shame.
It is challenging.
Well, the creek is said to be hidden. So, in any case, yes, absolutely. I mean, you lose the green spaces. I love the construct of the charter. I mean, we must have them. So, I don't know. We must keep them. I think it's a great opportunity for community involvement. To get I see kids, running around at the pools at the club and out on the course, and it's amazing. So just to jump over to transitory sections, I don't think by force is the right answer. I think that what Reston can offer, it should be enough to incentivize people to join the association. I don't think that that's even a hard sell. I mean, living here myself, it's amazing. There's plenty of stuff to do. So just opening those doors and opening those windows of communication to the transit zones. Spelling out what's great. Yeah, I think they'll come on board.
Okay, thank you.
So just the first question. Yes, I am in favor of preserving both golf courses. Growing up here, I'm not much of a golfer, but the green space is very important. I think at any level of urban planning, green space is important. Now, this urban plan was put forth in the early 60s. And I still think that the golf courses are relevant. There's a lot of golfers, and the real estate and the residential property that border the golf courses are very valuable. I think if we lose either of them, it's going to put a huge strain on Reston with regard to density, with regard to traffic, and so many other aspects. So my goal is to fight tooth and nail to keep those golf courses.
Thank you.
Interestingly enough, Dennis, the current resolution doesn't mention 18 holes. It merely says that we are a 2 golf course community. And the representative of Wheeler, who owns the Reston National Golf Course, said, well, I can satisfy that with 2 putt-putt courses. None of us agree with that. We want to keep, in the case of Reston National, 6,800-yard golf course, 18 holes, and the like. And our resolution ought to be more specific. Be able to say, we don't want, as an example, Wheeler's current plan would be to put multifamily housing in front of the townhouses that are there now, cutting off those townhouses from a view, from the visual amenity of that green space. The negative impact that would be had on those townhouses estimated to be almost $40 million. one of the jobs of Reston Association is to preserve the property values of our members. And that's why, one of the reasons, not just for the open space, but the preservation of value is an important reason why we should be opposing any conversion of, and why we need to be much more specific as an association as to what we expect to happen on that property. So obviously that. On the other part, we 3 years ago went to the supervisors and said, what stops you from requiring, well, okay, I'll come back to that. We got an interesting answer. We're still waiting for an answer on the issue
Might get
of
30
joining
seconds
our.
at the end of this to make your point.
Terrific.
I mean, I have an interesting perspective on the golf course. First, I oppose all commercial development on any golf course around here, full stop. But I think you can only hold back a developer's vision for so long without having to come with your own better vision. Across the world, there are golf courses or places that used to be golf courses. Now they're world-class green spaces, arboretums, walking around, this beautiful kind of experience, using the actual paths they use for the golf course. Think about, Victoria Park, I think in Brisbane, in Australia, for example. And so what I say is, yes, don't touch those golf courses. But then we should also be thinking, is there a possibility for a conservation easement? Could we speak with the owner and show them the incentives that are available there? And maybe put their name on something that's world-class green space here in Reston. What better place to have it? So no commercial development, but we need to be thinking bigger, not just the green space we have, but the green space we want.
Okay, I think we're up for the 30 seconds, right? Because you started off, so 30 seconds, yes.
So on the 30 seconds. So we asked the Board of Supervisors, what prevents you from requiring the people, the developers along the TSA from joining RA? And what we said was, gave the testimony, if there's a law that prevents you from being able to do that, tell us what it is, we'll get it changed. If there's a case that prevents you from doing that, tell us what it is, we will get it changed. That was 3 years ago. As I sit here tonight, the silence is deafening. There has been no answer. This is a policy decision made by our supervisor not to require those new developers, 3,000 homes. If all 3,000 joined us, our assessment would be $120 lower. That's the fastest way to put a cap on our assessments.
Well, it's also the fastest way to give my wife an aneurysm as she's sitting to wait to register our kids for recreational services. More people, there's multiple levels to this thing, right? And I think we have to focus on making Reston the best it can be for the members we currently have, getting 5-star ratings from the members we currently have. Then we won't have to wait for the supervisor to do anything. They'll be begging us to do it. They'll be begging us to bring these folks on, let them experience your services. They'll be knocking down our door. But we have to do what's best for the residents and members we currently have first. And I think once we do that, everything else will take care of itself.
Okay. Other comments? No, hearing none. Good.
I just want to say on the record, if in case she's watching, my wife is a much better golfer than me. She's feeling really good. Okay. Anyways, I just want to put that out there. I yield the rest.
You got her vote.
Okay, very good. All right, next question. We're now looking at our 4th CEO in the last 8 years. Obviously, having a CEO who can provide direction, who can provide esprit, is extremely important to have that consistency. What is it that we, all of us, need to do to make sure that we can build a staff that has the direction and the stability that it needs to best perform? Mr. Pardo, starting with you.
Well, having that much turnover with regard to the position of CEO is can be concerning, but I don't know all the details behind the past presidents, or I'm sorry, the past CEOs. But I believe that proper due diligence and proper vetting of staff members is very important. I think that the board should work directly with the CEO, and rather than being adversaries, I think that the CEO and the board of directors should try to work together and collaborate as best as possible. I do, from my understanding of the board of directors, it needs to be higher level governance and not get too deep into operations. I've realized and experienced in different board of directors where the board can tend to slip into operations, and that can be a little dangerous. So I think we need to find the right candidate that can be the CEO and allow that person to run operations appropriately.
So one of the things to know is that the average tenure of a CEO for an HOA nationwide is about 3 years. And so we've had the current most recent occupant was finishing his 3 years. We have done a tremendous job of bringing in a much higher level of competency in the senior leadership team. And I have every confidence that our current acting CEO will do an outstanding job in working with the board and enabling the board to stay at a high level and not get into details. Except for the CEO, everybody else on our staff reports to the CEO. General counsel reports to both, but that is not something the board gets into. We say, here's the budget, here are our goals, here's our resolutions, go do. And I think that I have every reason to believe that going forward, we will see that kind of collaboration and we'll see that kind of leadership on the part of our acting CEO.
Well, this question is really an exit question for those CEOs, right? What I will say is, walking around the community, speaking to people I don't know, people I do know well, they miss Mac. So I'm going to tell you, I've heard that, many Reston natives who lived here for a long time feel like you did, probably the best job they've seen, with no slight to other previous CEOs, that they did a good job, but that it was a step forward in the right direction. So definitely a better exit interview with those outgoing CEOs is going to help. But I think for the board's role, it's really the board's role to just let leadership know that we trust them and we trust our own decisions in hiring them, and we troubleshoot when we can, but we don't need to dot their I's and cross their T's, right? And I think that kind of environment alone is going to give them what they need for longevity.
Yeah, retention. I mean, I can't exactly speak to. I mean, I don't even know where to apply to be the CEO. And I'm not going to get into a whole spiel about communication with the board, etc. But yeah, why are they leaving? Why are they leaving so soon? What work are they not accomplishing that they'd like to? Right? And how exactly is the board of directors, so it stands today, stands in 3 months, how are they getting in their way and how are they not? Right? I don't know the answer to these questions. I think understanding the experience, criteria, and vision of whatever CEO we end up hiring is going to have to be aligned. Sorry?
No, please go ahead. I'm trying not to squeak every time I take a breath here.
That's okay. Yeah, so just align the vision. I mean, I don't really have a great answer, but yeah, thanks.
No, I don't have a 30-second to add to that.
He was the first question. He answered first.
I answered.
Sorry, I lost track of that.
No worries.
You're number 4. I should know that. This is 4.
I was thinking. I answered my question.
Dennis, and this help?
I know. Yeah. Okay, now we're in the 30-second round. Who's up? Oh, wow, nobody. All right.
Well, I will say, I will make one more comment.
There we go.
Make one comment. And maybe at some point the board would like to, with the permission of the CEO, make their, some of their critiques of how everything, transpired during their tenure, public for the members. Maybe that's something that could be done in the future in limited ways. Of course, don't want to put anybody too much on the spot for anything they might be wanting to do in the future, but definitely disclosure to the members as well, because it'd be good, helpful for us to know if there's something that Reston could do better or differently to retain them in those roles. I will say I wasn't speaking about him specifically. I'm talking about in the future, maybe designing an exit
Okay,
opportunity.
all right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Good.
So,
The side of the table. Okay, go to the next question, and I think we're back to Mr. Farrell's going to start us off here. Several members who wrote in noted that it seems that the RA board spends a tremendous amount of time discussing land use issues and Fairfax County initiatives and zoning matters and these sorts of things. This at a time when Reston is blessed, I would say, with the design review board, with the planning and zoning committee, with this organization right here and others. And I guess the larger question is there are a number of committees that exist under RA. How best can you work with that so that you're able to be most efficient at the board level?
So we had a structure that would enable us to keep the board involvement in this issue to a minimum. The board members voted to change that and to bring all of those issues to the board level. And as I mentioned earlier, one of our obligations is to preserve property values. And one of the biggest impacts on property values is adjacent land use and what goes on. And do people, new homes join RA? And the impact of those decisions on the quality of life of our membership. So I think it's appropriate. We have 63,000 members. We have the biggest bullhorn in town, and we've used that down in Richmond on the casino. And I think going forward, availing ourselves of that strength of numbers will be important to enhance our community, so that new land uses coming in will enhance our community and not exploit our community.
Let me be clear on the question. Can you restate your question?
Well, I'll try to paraphrase it. It's just that obviously the board has many functions, and we've already talked about how meetings might be going a bit long.
Right.
How can you get maximum value out of the committees that you've formed so that you can operate most efficiently?
Okay. Well, in my experience with Fairfax County Consumer Protection Commission and the various commissions, I think John Carter might be on the plan for Hunter. Yeah, Hunter Mill. The way you do it is you trust them. You say what your expectations are, we prioritize, and get reports from those committees, and then you do something about it if you can. You have a conversation, high-level conversation with supervisor, John Carter, and just see how we can navigate. Right now, we're in a difficult position because of who controls the adjacent lands, right? And all the adjacent things. But I'm a legislative lawyer. I do what I do for a living is I talk to people, many times people who disagree. And they may disagree today, but not tomorrow. And you keep at it and you keep outlining your priorities. And once your priorities become even more defined, a bigger vision, you're no longer asking for them to give you a vision or not build their vision. You're saying, I have a vision. And so now people are marching to us, asking us not to do it because we've established the lead vision. So I think that's one of the ways you do it.
Yeah, that was a good answer. That was a very good answer. Yeah, I mean, you have to let them work, right? Why do we have the committee in the first place? Aside that aside, like I get it. Like it's a deeply important issue for the ultimate decision maker. Like I get it, but to what extent are we liaising, right, on these issues? And at what level, right? Are we the board getting mired in it, or the board are the committees allowed to do the work that they're supposed to do? So yeah, the other rest. Great.
Yeah, I think the committees are very important to the board of directors. Committees do very focalized work. I think that the communication could be streamlined in the essence of time. If it's taking too long to make communications in between the committees and the board, maybe it drags the meetings on and on and on. But committees are designed to study one specific area and then report to the board. The board votes based on information given by a committee. So that's kind of the main structure of it. If we can maybe go in and streamline communication, I think everybody can agree that in this world, whether it's a corporate world or HOA or what have you, communication is the most important thing. So how can we communicate better and more efficiently? I think that would be my approach.
Okay, very good. Yes.
So one of the things we do is we have a monthly meeting with the supervisor, our president and our CEO meets with the supervisor every month. We also are in regular contact with written materials and written feedback that's approved by the board to Mr. Carter at the Planning Commission as each case comes along. The board also authorized the hiring of a land use planner to do a lot of this work. One of the things that we're looking at with regard to Reston National is it may well be that all of the density that someone might think is on Reston National was actually used to build 400 townhouses that surround Reston National. So we need to do that research in order to solidify that opposition to that development.
Others?
I'm all for research, and I echo what Mr. Pardo said about let them do their work, report, and the board makes a high-level decision based on that information.
Okay. Move to the next question. Mr. Phillips touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to ask each of you. First off, have you reviewed the community survey that was done shortly ago, asking people basically what they valued and what they wanted to see more of? How, as board members, do you see yourselves being able to respond to or to implement in certain cases that vision that was created? Okay, you.
I mean, yeah, I've seen the survey. And surveys are always interesting. I always do it in, all the organizations I am. And sometimes I ask the questions that I want the answers to, not the question that, everyone would like to tell me. So the survey I'm relying on most is the one that allowed me to run in the first place, those petition signatures. And I'll tell you, one of the most interesting things is this is not a high level thing for the board, but maybe a thing to direct a staff for, but people want curbside vacuum leaf collection. There's like everybody I talk to, they don't want to be out there like, raking their leaves. They drive through Vienna and they just see someone just gently sucking up the leaves. And that's what they want. So people want new services that they can like connect to that makes their life easier on a weekend or walking the trails, more mobile connectivity, and there's green ways to do that, non-invasive ways to do that. People don't want to have drop calls. I've seen a number of people lost on the trails and their phone won't tell them where to go because they have no signal. So people want just new services that connect with their everyday life.
You're up.
Yeah, that really left me the question. I don't think that the vision precedes survey response. It's amended by the survey response, right? Vision I would outline for our neighbors and our community is simply defined by, I live in Reston. I'm taking this survey. I know, like, having that communication, and like what an eye-opening experience it was to do this petition. Never done anything like it. And yet, meeting each of these residents, they're hitting on some of the same things. And I'm like, what is the driving force behind their engagement? Yeah, the response was overwhelming. It was all the same issues that we're talking about tonight. Those issues have been communicated. So, being on the board would mean, I think, in fact, amending the vision that I'm laying out, building a framework that can, to whatever extent, actually accommodate those feelings by the members. So, thanks.
Okay.
I believe that the survey was important. With my experience with surveys, with whether it be the soccer club or what have you, you tend to get a lot of different opinions. There's a very, very large and broad group of opinions here in Reston. But how do you kind of, look at the big picture and take the most important and most consistent bullet points and concerns of our members and kind of put it into an action item, basically. So I think we're all kind of running on a similar platform in the sense that we want to preserve the essence of what this community is about. And so I'm going to go back to what I mentioned earlier. I think everybody that fills out the survey just wants to be heard. You know, most Restonians everybody has an opinion. I can go to anybody on Lake Ann Plaza and ask them their opinion of Reston, and everybody's going to have a similar yet different opinion. And they just want to be heard. So I think communication is very important. You know, I want to be able to get it out there and let everybody in Reston, our members, know that they've been heard, even if they don't get what they want.
So this survey was the first time that RA has had a professional survey done using the stringent criteria of a professional survey. In my 40 years living in Reston, I've tended to observe that the board gets driven by the squeakiest wheel at that one moment. And there are examples that we can talk about, bocce and other recreational facilities. What the survey told us was that the membership really doesn't want new services. They really don't want new facilities. They want us to take care of the facilities that we have. And that survey, because of the professionalism of James Braun, who was a volunteer but had extensive experience in marketing analysis, is a reliable reflection of what our membership wants. I would be hard pressed not to take that survey as the lodestar and the guiding star for the decisions I make going forward. Take care of the facilities you have, make sure that they're going to be there for a long time. Yeah, we're not really interested in doing a heck of a lot more than the facilities we already have.
I mean, that's just not my experience. That's a large assumption about a survey, you know. Maybe they just don't trust the association with doing new things because they think the assessments are going to triple. That, was that question asked? Are you saying this because you're afraid of it? No, it wasn't asked. With no disrespect to the folks who professionals put the survey together. Every weekend in the winter, people are leaving Reston to go play sports. They have to go to an indoor facility in Leesburg and all these things. People want an indoor facility here. People couldn't walk the trails after we had the big snowstorm. A lot of people might be able to walk inside of a state-of-the-art facility here. People want new things in Reston. They're just probably concerned about whether or not the board is going to be able to deliver it in a way that doesn't burden them in some other way.
Okay, let's see.
As
last comments, yeah.
as it was snowing a few weeks ago, I saw these individual boards on the Reston Trail driving around. My wife and I were out walking around. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. It's really cool. But just in terms of affording people grace is, I think, the least we could do, if not the ultimate responsibility. Because people are upset, obviously they feel like they're not being heard. So just a little bit of grace goes a long way.
I'm going to go off script here because I want to ask a question that came up in some of the comments you made. One of the things that I think is extremely important is that Reston, for all of the good things that we have here, has a reputation for having lots of good things. And I think that hurts us with the county and the state. And I will specifically talk about one of my personal issues, which is the indoor athletic facility, which Hunter Mill is the only district in Fairfax which does not have an indoor athletic facility. And we're on the books. And we're expected to have that built by 2050. So my question is, what can we, and I'm looking at you as prospective board members, do to help get across the fact to our political folks that Reston, we're not asking for special favors, just asking to be treated fairly. And let's see, I think you are up first.
Oh.
It was, yeah.
Sure. No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Boy, getting through to colleagues. I mean, yeah, you gotta communicate what's great about it. You gotta communicate, right? Like what our expectation is for the community. While also at the same time incentivizing the decision. Making a reasonable explanation as to why it's not acceptable to wait until 2050. I will say though, I will be here in 2050. Well, God willing, I will. I'm pretty sure.
We won't.
I'm pretty sure my family and I will be here in 2050. Maybe I won't be on the board, but in any case, so it's it's a very complicated issue. I'm not going to, you know, portray some simulacrum of HOA board president, whatever, but it is a very important issue. I don't think that, right? I think maybe communication, civilization, explaining like, hey man, like this is our expectation that we get this facility built soon. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm certainly in favor of an indoor facility. Thinking back to what this community looked like back in the early 80s, the Southgate Community Center, when it was built, really helped that area. And so an indoor facility, I know is going to help Reston. But I think that we have to go about it with the proper approach in terms of the size, the design, you know, it fits with the Reston architectural standard. I'm not much of a politician, but my first order would be to meet with Walter Alcorn and see, you know, how we can discuss getting us on the table for an indoor facility.
So, we have a long board schedule, bond schedules, forgive me, in the county. And so we have a bond for the library here, and we have bonds for schools and new schools, and we're out to 2050 because we want to keep that AAA bond rating. And so we can only sell so many bonds per year. And we're in competition with the other million people who live in this county. And so if we're looking to the county to do it, 2050 is about as soon as it's going to happen, because there would have to be 6 other votes to jump us ahead. What I'm sad about recently is that there was a proposal in Roland Clark to have offer an indoor sports facility as part of that development. And that would have been an opportunity for us to provide a facility for pickleball and for other activities here in Reston. And unfortunately, the supervisors made it clear he's not interested. So I'm saddened by that. I think RA would have liked, the RA board would have liked to see that proposal go forward.
I mean, all is not lost. I mean, maybe the Supervisor Alcorn needs to hear a different voice, different perspective. Denver actually issues mini bonds, and many states, many cities do it. They offer mini bonds directly to the people in an area. That way it doesn't have to go to a bond market. There's not going to be some foreign corporation overseas who gets to buy the bond here. You get to buy it and you get to collect on it. Maybe, we try to work with the county into whatever degree they might need to, the state, to get a mini bond program like Denver has, Denver mini bonds. Probably might need about, I don't know, 30 million or something like that for a small facility, but Fairfax could raise it and they'd be able to get that money back and they could see what they built. But the whole point is saying it's not lost. You have to always just think about different ways, different strategies, different leverage points. 2050, no, by the time we get to 2050, if I'm on the board, we would have had this thing already for 20 years. Maybe we'll need a new one by 2050. Because we have to show the county that we don't just want it, that we will have it. And part of that is working with them, showing how strong we are and connected we are. And then Mr. Parlow said, you got to build that vision. You got to let them see it, And so I think it can be achieved. I just think it takes some hard work and perhaps a new voice.
Okay. Further comment? I just want to know, when you're arguing or talking with the county officials, tell them the 50-meter indoor pool is not negotiable. Okay?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the ocean-sized pool.
There you go. As I'm sitting here, I just noticed this handy dandy thing here, which is kind of like a big wand. And so my next question here is, assuming you had a magic wand and you could wave it, and one thing that would happen with RA would take effect right then and right there. What would that be? It's right here first. Yes.
Just one thing?
Just one. Nope, not well. It's not a genie. You don't get 3. You get 1.
To be completely honest, if there was one thing that I could, if waving a magic wand, that there would be absolutely no chance that the green space and the golf courses could ever change, and they would stay in Reston in perpetuity. Honestly, that's my number one, wish for Reston. That green space is so important to me. I have more, but I'll relinquish my time.
Okay, over to you, John.
I agree with your choice. I would say for myself would be to get every residential facility along the TSA to be a member of RA. It would hold down our assessment. It would spread the cost of that assessment over a great deal. We do a pretty good job of getting people registered for all of our facilities, for our camps and all of those things. But having Reston be, and here's the thing, that's what our comprehensive plan says. Our comprehensive plan says all those folks are supposed to join RA. That's a comprehensive plan that you worked on and I participated in. And so my view is that's the most important thing going forward, so that we are one community, not four communities. And I think that if we're going to implement Mr. Simon's vision for our community, I think that's essential.
I'm not going to disagree with what I've heard here, but I think the key to that is having the power to control our home zoning. So if you could have a magic wand, give us control of our space. Golf courses stay. We can walk around and annex places if we need to. We'd have a lot more flexibility and ability to control our own destiny and the space around us. And I think that's what we're dealing with here, right? We're dealing with the space around us, something going up that we don't want, that doesn't fit, our community. And we see kind of
a bumper sticker. You want to be a city?
Well, city town, that's a long road. That's another trip to Richmond, maybe 17,000 trips. But whatever allows us to have more control of our destiny and of our space. And I know it's tough because there's still going to be more decisions to be made, longer board meetings perhaps, but it's a lot better than waiting for someone who doesn't have to do what we're asking, doesn't have to listen to us consistently to do something on our behalf. So I think a little more power controlling our space, zoning control.
Okay, Phillips.
So I nearly sat here and completely gave up. And I want to agree with you, right? I live in I live in Tall Oaks. That's the seat I'm running for, is Lake Anna Tall Oaks. I'm a member of this course, as I said. Much as I would love to see it stay, maybe it's my magic wand, but it's not mine, right? I'm just a steward of the magic wand. I think my magic wand, all right, magic wand would be to turn things around at Lake Ann. That used to be a beautiful space. It really did. And it is, I cannot believe what's happened. It's unbelievable. And so that's my magic wand. I'll sell my golf clubs, whatever I have to do. But I would see that. I would see Lake Ann turn around.
30 seconds.
I mean, I just want to to modernize it, to bring it like back up to what it was, but just in the current.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a response to that. I'm going to use my 30 seconds. I live on Lake Ann Plaza. Lived there for 30 years. I believe wholeheartedly in preserving the historic integrity of the actual buildings and plaza itself. If any redevelopment were to come about, it would need to come on the outskirts of it within the guidelines of the master plan, really, Bob Simon's master plan. So I agree, but disagree in a sense, because I still feel that Lake Ann has a lot of life, but it does have a lot of potential.
Well, I want to congratulate the candidates, because you've been pithy with your responses here and not always taking up all of your time. And I'll just note as an aside that if RA board meetings went that way, you'd all be home in bed by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's the goal.
He came prepared.
There you go. Okay. We have a few more minutes. I'm going to ask if any of my colleagues have a final question of areas that I have not covered that is burning before we go to the final comments of the candidates.
Well, I kind of have one.
Well, that's good.
It may touch on something that you've already discussed, but what's the RA board doing now that you would change?
Okay, let's see, we're back to you at the start.
Come prepared. We spend so much time going over material that has been out in the world for at least a week and sometimes longer. And we spend a whole lot of time basically regurgitating the stuff that people have had available to them for quite some time. The A and B, let's get our work done. We have to approve litigation. When we go for enforcement action, we have to approve the amendments to the design guidelines. We have a lot of work to do, and we haven't finished it. So I think if people come prepared, and if people come ready to do the work, we cut down our meetings from twice a month to once a month because, quote unquote, it was a lifestyle choice. And my answer to my colleagues who said that is, wait a second, you made that choice when you filed your documents, when you filed your petition. We have a lot of work we have to do. And even if we stay at the governing level, there's still a lot of work and decisions that only the board can make. So come prepared and do your stuff and talk to your colleagues before the meeting so that we don't have to be writing motions on the fly in the middle of the meeting.
Okay, great.
I would say get out into the community, maybe have a meeting out in the community, maybe on a beautiful summer, summer days, have maybe a meeting out there because there's a disconnect. I'm talking to folks who went to, who went to Terrasset, went to Langston, graduated, left, came back, and I'm talking to them about the board, and they're like, and they live and die Reston, right? They're so Reston. Get in the community, connect, have a real community meeting where it's, maybe out in Lake Ann, where you're bringing, because I love that building. My wife actually works over in that Sunrise building over there. It actually doesn't represent Reston very much when you're in that building. You feel like you're disconnected from it a little bit. Get out into the community, have meetings out there, maybe not as substantive on the litigation and all those decisions, but something that connects the people with your work in just a different way. So it's not that newsletter assessment they're getting that says, oh, pickleball tournament. How much was that? No, when they say, oh, we were out in the community.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, you guys are taking all the good points. Yeah, the protocol procedures, outrageous. I've had very limited interaction with the board. I can't believe, like, how do we stay till midnight, right? Like, make it make sense. I don't get not being prepared. I don't get tons of reading material. Like, make it easier, right? Like, you have the resources. They're provided by our assessments. Just make it more efficient, man. That's all.
With my experience of board of directors, it's challenging, I must say, and I agree that there's a lot of work to do, and sometimes members come without doing their homework. And I think that my approach would be to communicate better with all the members and see if we can collaborate more. I know that there's going to be differing opinions. Every board of director has a differing opinion on different subjects, but I think that diplomacy is probably the best approach to getting through and hammering out decisions that are very important for the community.
Okay, 30 seconds. If not, oh, we have one. Well, the president wants to speak. So,
I do have a question. Have any of you received endorsements from current RA board members or past presidents?
I haven't asked for any.
let's start.
Yeah,
I've
I've received endorsements. I have endorsements from 5 past presidents.
Okay.
It's been definitely, I'm grateful. I think what they may see though in me is that twinkle in my eye, because I have it. Every time my kids walk to Hunter's Woods and we're a block from the school, and I'm picking them up, and of course some days, probably most days, we're running to the school. You'll see it's like this, living so close, you're so far away. But my connection with Reston was a choice. My wife, we both chose to live here, and we're so connected with everything we're doing. That's why I got permission to run, because I need permission to run. Everyone in this room knows what what a burden it is sometimes on the family to have to do all the things you have to do and some of the things you want to do in your community. So I was able to get that support. That support's, of course, you know, five doesn't win you anything, but I think it is a representation of them understanding that that I understand things about the board that that could help us go far if I'm elected.
No other third comments. Okay. Good. Okay. Now, excuse me, we're going to move to final statements. Anything that has not been covered that you would like to tell the constituency, please go. And I guess we'll go backwards from the way we started. So, Sparto, if you could go first.
1 minute, one
1 minute.
1 minute. I'll probably use 30 seconds.
Well, you just used 14 minutes, so you didn't hurry.
Wow. I just wanted to thank everybody for having me here today and listening to me. And I want to just wrap it up by saying that I actually really care about this community more than most people would think. I'm very approachable, and I'd love to talk to anybody in the membership about their concerns with the community. And I hope to do something good.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you specifically to the RCA. You guys are, I mean, literally the reason why we're here, but the reason why it makes sense to run, like being the voice of the residents here. I don't know any principal organization who does it better than you guys do. So thank you very, very much. I look forward to seeing everyone, hopefully, if you can make it next Tuesday. Thank you guys to at-large Pardo. So sorry Georgina couldn't be here, but thank you all. This is actually crazy fun. This is a lot of fun. So it's hard, but it's a lot of fun. So thank you all very much.
You're having fun. I'm going to have new questions for you.
Well, definitely want to thank RCA, Ambassador, and thank you for bearing with me. You know, a few 30 seconds turned into 45 seconds, maybe a minute. But I just want to say to everyone out there that I'm running because I love Reston. It's probably the 5th time I've said it. There's so much potential I see, but I also respect what's there. So it's a very interesting kind of dynamic where I look at it and say, I see this vision, and what's this vision look like right now? Because I don't want Reston to remain frozen in time and then melt away, right? I think it's necessary for us to continue to do that work as if it's 1964, you know, and as if we're trying to continue building something so we have something to hand on to the next generation, and not with our names on it. No, the name on it's Reston, right? But it's that spirit that we're trying to continue. And that's what I hope to bring to the board, that continuation of that collaborative energy and that vision for the future where you're like, I'm not quite sure how we're going to get there, but that way is north, and that's where we're headed. So I appreciate it. I love your vote. For a month's time, I guess it's the 27th through the 31st. Dayton Lynch at large. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, and thank you to my friends up here. Putting yourself in front, I was first elected to local government when I was 19, and I'm far from that today. And putting yourself out there to run for public office is a psychic challenge, and it's not easy to do. And so I thank each of you for coming up and running. Over the next 3 years, we will continue to oppose a casino. We will continue to preserve and save our golf courses. But one of the most important things we have to do over the next 3 years is change the way we fund our capital improvements. We have 100-foot bridges. We have 54 miles of trail. And those 100-foot bridges are going to have to be replaced over time. How do we do that without a special exception? How do we do that without borrowing money? We have a capital program that enables us to do that. And without having massive increases in our annual assessment, we can do that. And that will keep our assessment down. But it's going to take work. And it takes the time and the knowledge of the operations of the association in order to make those things happen. Thank you for your time, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Very good. Well, on behalf of
Margaret, is.
Oh, Margaret, you want to say? Yes, Margaret.
Wait.
Thank
Can
you.
you, let me, there you are.
Thank
Okay.
you. You know, I will say it was very difficult for me tonight to keep my tongue bit. There were a number of questions that I would have loved to have jumped in on. I think, you know, there were some wonderful answers I heard tonight. There were some answers that, you know, maybe we need time and research to be able to really affect those well. One thing that I will say is I respect the people I work with on the board. I don't agree with all of them. I don't see eye to eye on a number of things with many of them at times, but we are all volunteers. None of us on the board are paid. We do the best we can. There are weeks when you get to read all 200 to 300 pages and you are good to go. And there are weeks when something has come up personally and that's just not possible. And we show up and do the best we can, how we can. And that is okay, right? Because we're human. And so I just want to make it very clear to everyone watching, everyone listening, that the board members that I serve with currently and the board members that I hope to serve with in the future are human and are doing the best they can. And we will continue to make choices, make votes that will hopefully benefit all of Reston as best we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Well, on behalf of RCA, I want to thank all of you for coming here and putting up with our questions. If I had a choice, I'd put all four of you on the board right away. I know that there's an election process, though. So I will note that even if things do not turn out the way you like, that does not mean that we will not look to you to continue to contribute to our community. RCA, as a board, we've had many of our people graduate to your board. We've also had people who've served on your board who then come to serve with us here. You know, RCA and RA are sometimes confused, and I tell people there's a very easy way to tell the difference. We're the ones with no staff and no money. But I do have, what we have and we share with you is people like the folks here in this room who love Reston, who care about Reston, who are prepared to work for the betterment of every Restonian. So thank you again very much. Good luck. And we hope to continue to have relationships with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
I want to thank all of the viewers for participating. I think that our okay. Well, I don't want to block our. So I want to thank all of our viewers for participating, and again, I want to thank the candidates for participating. I think this is a great trial run for your next forum on Tuesday, and I hope that you know, if you all enjoyed this candidate forum, please encourage your friends and neighbors to attend the Reston Association Candidate Forum as well. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and our candidate forum is concluded.